Hi everyone, come on in. Welcome to Your Best You. I'm Reverend Dr. Kathleen Fenity, your host.
And I'm Joan Kazmarzik, your co-host. Welcome. And we're talking about Chakra 6 today.
That's right, Chakra 6 today. And Chakra 6 is indigo, right? So it's an interesting color because when we think about the spectrum, of our inner rainbow here at Your Best You, we know it's Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, which we just did last episode. Indigo. Indigo is chakra number 6. And I don't know what you know about chakra number 6, but the camera just moved because underneath the camera, I have Crystal, the husky. And I brought her in close so when she wakes up from her whatevers, you can see her, but she just threw herself back in a relaxing, and knocked the camera. So it's live here, see?
Oh my. Yes.
There you go. It's live. It's live here, Chris. And the reason why I have Crystal here is because I was told by Joan that she's been getting many requests that everyone wants to see her. So I thought, well, blue and black indigo, what a great color for a husky to show up.
Especially one with blue eyes.
A Siberian husky, beautiful colors. So anyway, to the indigo. And, I'll talk a little bit more about the color, with you a little bit. But I think what I wanted to open up with today, and you've heard me speak of them before, are the mudras. Okay. Yeah. And of course, mudras are a mystery, and yet, they're not. They're so familiar to us. The most familiar within the Americas is
praying hands.
The prayer mudra, of course, right? So we know that these symbols have a meaning, and that meaning is in the mind, and where symbols live in the 6th chakra. That's our, I always say, our Magi, it's our imagination. It's our inner magician. It's the Magi. But it's I Magi. So it's I Magi nation. And so we are a nation of Magi's. Within us all is the potential for all aspects of our being to continually open and evolve. And in that in itself is certainly something a magician would do.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're very magical beings, Set aside the woo-woo with the mudra, because when you think of prayer and you realize the mind-body connection, it has a lot of scientific backup research to validate that, in fact, the mudras do affect our whole biochemistry, physiology. The mind and the body are connected. The spirit and the matter are connected.
Well, it's just kind of like when you hear about biofeedback even.
Mm-hmm.
That same kind of thing, where the people are taught to kind of get in touch with themselves and do things like mudras so that they're kind of bringing their energy back into themselves.
Well, the biofeedback is very appropriate and really works well with chakra 5 because it allows a lot of verbalization that changes the old programmed mindset of patterning so that your brain hears your mind,
right?
Your voice speaking, and then it re-registers, if you keep up, as I say, the positive affirmations, whatever. But with the imagination, it's almost like another level up. You know, it's another tool. It's a center within all of us that can be activated and it can be elevated. It can grow.
Yeah.
So the mudras are a way, and I thought, have not opened a show with the mudra that. See, I wrote the name down, but I'll show it to you first. The mudra is simple. I'll get up to show it to you. Okay, I'll get up to show it to you. So I'm going to come right up to the camera. And the mudra is where we take every one of our fingertips, right? And we're going to place them all together. So each one gets to be placed like this. Now you've often noticed, or maybe not, I don't know, but you might have noticed that in contemplation, if you're in a seated position and you're not crossing your legs because you're opening up, portals, you're closing them when you cross, right? Keeping the fingertips attached in this particular position begins to open up the ability for the mind to remember even.
Well, there's a certain amount of energy that you can feel even when you're holding your fingertips like this.
And remember, don't cross. Keep your legs grounded and your feet on the floor.
And you do feel an energy flow.
Hold that position. Keep
Yeah.
holding that position, okay?
Yeah.
And see what happens as you hold that position. Because it's an interesting position to hold, even but for a moment. The mudra for that is called the Hakkini, Hakini, the Hakkini, the god of the forehead. To awaken the memory, to increase concentration. So if you're feeling a lull in the day, if you sit with this mudra, your concentration can begin to slowly increase. You can remember things and you can come up with good ideas. So it's a very interesting mudra. This is what happens when we bring the husky on. And I leave the Chihuahua in another room, so there's no interaction of Chihuahua Husky world. So there's that mudra. It's called the Hakini Mudra, the god of the forehead. And interestingly, because it's an activating mudra, actually, Krista, take this. I'm going to come up again. You don't want it, baby? Okay. If you take the mudra, which again, as I've shown you, is your hands, fingertips all touching. And now you're going to do something different, okay? You ready? You're going to take your right index finger and you're going to put it on your thumb of your left finger. And now you're going to walk every finger over until they're all matched up, and then you're going to take your thumb and put it on your pinky of your left. So your right thumb is on your pinky, and all the other fingers have moved over 1 degree.
That's a tough one. It's a little,
And interestingly, now you can bring your fingers back. Now walk them. See if you can walk them back. Walk the index over, that over, and that. Or you could release it by the thumb and walk it back over. But you can wind and unwind it. And the interesting thing about that mudra, when you twist it like that, you actually get an activation of your large intestines.
Really?
Yeah. So, when they say how the gut and the mind are connected,
Yeah.
I think, when sometimes the intestines move, the mind oftentimes wakes up. We know that from movements of the intestines. You always feel better after a good movement, right? Your best you, right? That's down in the first chakras, but nevertheless, again, that intestine's at 27 feet, and it starts with the connection of the vagus nerve, which is up with the head, and, knee bone connected to the,
It's all connected.
we're all connected. So chakra 6, isn't that fun? Wasn't that fun to do? I love the mudras.
Yeah, that was fun because it's fun to feel. It's really cool to feel that energy flow. And if you do try it, you will feel it. Just give it a try.
And remember, too, if you want to pre-activate your hands, you can always do the, clearing of the space, rub them together. You can, how we used to blow a kiss? Blow you a kiss, right? Well, why would we do that? You think we would do that if it didn't have an energetic effect?
No.
I don't think we humans would waste our time if we
I
didn't
don't
think
so.
something was going to produce something. We're
That's
not
right.
really like that.
No. Energy is very interesting that way.
Energy is everything, and everything is energy. We're all vibrating beings, speaking of which, just as an aside, since we're talking energy, as always, but energy, and you think everything is energy, everything has a vibrational frequency, and I know I've talked about the tree record before. I know you've heard me talk about the tree record. Do you remember it?
I can't think of it off the top of my head, but
The tree record, and you can go ahead and Google it. What they do is they take, they slice the trunk of the tree,
yeah, you can tell.
and they put it in a record player that's designed, and
Really?
they put the needle on, and it makes music. Now you see, I've told you, everything creates a vibrational frequency, and that vibrational frequency creates a sound. Everything's connected. I know you all are brilliant, and I know that the more we know, the less we know. So we get to a level of knowing. We don't want to stop. We want to keep knowing, and keep learning, and keep growing. Look, even if the difference between a bougainvillea and a cactus, they're both growing. Maybe, albeit, the cactus grows at a much slower rate, and it's so subtle, the energetic shift, you barely can notice it, but you do. If you live in the desert over seasons, you begin to notice the subtle shifts. Okay? But the bougainvillea, right, is this growing, flushes, flowers, and the cactus is like, I am here, and I am going to stay here, and these are arid conditions. You see, everything's energy. And so the idea is with the pineal and the sixth is, always keep growing that, and
Keep imagining.
well,
Keep building.
keep the dreams alive. When we are dreaming, you think of the blues and the blacks. Those colors are the colors of the night.
Yeah.
And indigo is, you go inside. Of course, it's our external sight. We see in our sixth chakra, I see. But I see, says the blind man. How much more is seen when one is looking through the eyes of inner sight? You may be even seeing with an external eye, but the way that you're perceiving it shifts because of an inner sight. Oh, love is blind, is it? You see.
Yes. Yes.
Or rose-colored glasses, And some choose literally to say, I am choosing to go through life with rose-colored glasses. I have, 80 to 100 years, maybe if I'm very blessed. And how do I want to view my life? No matter what the circumstances are.
Right.
What kind of glasses are you wearing? And you may find that some days, you can't go around Pollyanna.
No.
But you can still look at things through a different sight than what you're actually seeing with your natural eyes. Because what we see with our natural eyes isn't really what's going on. You see the paradox of life. It's amazing.
Yeah. There's always so much more to it.
Yeah. There's always so much more to it. So indigo, is it blue or is it black? Is it purple? What is it?
Somewhere in between.
Quite a mysterious color, isn't it?
Quite. A beautiful blend.
It's closest to blue, but it borders on black of blue. So it's the black of blue. And it comes from the Latin for Indian, because it was originally exported from India to Europe. The color. There you go. Learn something new every day.
That's for sure.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It really is.
Indigo, integrity and intuition, inspirations, right? And irritations.
Oh, the other side.
Always.
The flip side of it.
You know me.
Yes.
I'm not going to just be rose-colored glasses.
No, not at all.
I
She's going to give it
always-
all.
Well, because we're made up, we're composites.
Yeah.
The more we know our shadow side, the more we have an ability to say, have a better relationship with it.
Yeah.
And if you think you're without the shadow side, well, only the shadow knows for sure. I'm quick sometimes. But
Yes.
listen,
That's a
hey,
good one. That's very
it's-
good.
the mind is still working.
Yeah. Only the
Um,
shadow.
deep thought, spiritual wisdom, or wisdom, you know, helps with communication, your meditation, brings a sense of peace and devotion and justice. Indigo. Okay. Now 7 is violet, white light, right?
Mm.
But we're right now between violet, white light and blue, bright blue, you know, really, you know, like I said, the skies are blue.
But this,
The water is blue, so beautifully blue. Why are you so blue, right?
I said we have blue right here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if you can see that bracelet of Joan's. And she's got a husky under her foot.
Yes, I
There's
do.
no navigating that for Joan. I got news. I have a little bit more of a yogini there. But yeah, so I thought I'd just do a quick review as I was going over my notes for today's show and just thinking, well, what am I going to, you know, we could do some mudras or something different. I'm in the yoga today. So I thought, yeah, let's do that. 1 is earth. 2 is water. Okay. Which you think, what? 2? Orange is water? 2 is water. Your chakra 2 is the element of water. It's the color orange. Odd. Agreed. 3 is fire. That's the element of fire, right? Our solar plexus. Makes sense.
Fire in the belly.
Right. Makes sense, right? Yeah. 4, the heart. Remember I've talked about the heart being air. Remember the air sucked out of you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can feel the air shift. The air changes when you're in love, when your heart is hurt, or when your heart is filled.
Overfull. Yeah.
Right.
Overfilling. Yeah.
Then I said 5 is sound. Remember? It's not air.
No.
It's the sound.
The sound that travels through the air.
Right. Sound. And now we're here and we're in what's called light. I see. It's the element of light. Up here, 7 is actually considered the thought, to know. But for light is, you need light to see, right? You can't see in the dark. And yet in the darkest is the light is the brightest. So when you go into meditation, you come out of meditation going, oh my God, I can't believe how much insight I got from that time, right? You didn't go into it with that, but you come out of it with that. Yeah. And it can happen in a 5-minute, 10-minute meditation moment, especially if you're adding in a contemplative mudra, such as the Hakkini, the god of the forehead mudra. So when you start to add elements together, it's more than just the flour in the pan. You've actually begun to make a cake. So the more tools you have,
Yeah.
not necessarily more is better. I've never been an advocate of that. I'm about quality, not quantity.
Yeah.
I'm always about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not more is better.
Right.
It's what it's kind of the quality of it.
Yeah.
So it's like to ask yourself this question: what's more valuable, the pearls of wisdom or the coins of gold? God and mana, you see. But really, ideally, we want them
both
together.
Yeah.
So that, but, we live in a
Right.
world of the darkness,
Yeah.
and so thus we have all these things that are going
Sure.
on around us.
Sure.
But in the ideal kind of what we're trying to strive for, maybe individually, maybe collectively, I don't know, cosmically, I mean, I've heard this recent theory that's come out through the NASA and, all the research that's been done of the things that were hidden in the past with Roswell and Area 51 and all the memory metal and, all the new things that we didn't have, but we instantly had after Roswell.
Yeah. Right.
So, it's not a big connection of the dot, but when everything is hidden and then it's brought up at inappropriate times, so it almost looks like folly.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, nobody's going to believe it now, or even if they did, it's
exactly.
like, oh, boring. Who
Oh,
cares? We
really?
already knew.
Yeah.
But then when a more of a greater reality of it comes in, it's shut down more. So it's just that way that the as I said on LinkedIn, I was talking with someone on LinkedIn, and she put up something about quoting Shakespeare. And something about Shakespeare, and I said, yeah, the thing about Shakespeare, I love Shakespeare because Shakespeare's like all the world is a stage,
Yeah.
and we're just merely the players.
Yeah.
So my question is, who's the director and who wrote the script? Because are we writing our own script? I think we're co-writing.
Mm.
And you could be writing your script and thinking you're going along, and then something comes along and suddenly the earth falls out from underneath the main character, and you're like, well, wait a second,
But that wasn't supposed to
Well,
happen. What
for
the
all
heck's
of
that?
us, that's basically what
Yeah.
life is. It's
Sure.
life is filled with these unexplainable instances and situations, and a lot of times we're like, but for the grace of God, go I.
Yeah.
Life is fragile, and yet it continues. So it's just, they're like saying we were living on Mars first, and then when Mars, and I'm not making this up as crazy, this is like the newest theory, and when Mars came to its, because it used to have water and mountains and beautiful valleys, and it was apparently a beautiful planet, but something happened over time, and then it got into trouble, and when it exploded or whatever happened, meteorite came from Mars, supposedly landed here on Earth right at the time. So they think that part of the life was transferred from Mars.
Okay.
So our draw and call to want to go back to Mars isn't so far-fetched. So now we have a whole group of individuals that are going on a journey in 2023, and they're going to be the first settlers on Mars.
Really?
And they've all signed up, and they're all young people, and they feel very called to the mission, and there's no return trip. I'm like, you really have to feel called to do things like that, okay? And then after 2 years, because it takes 2 years to do the transit or something.
I was going to say, doesn't it take
It's
a
a
while
long
to
time.
get
It's
there?
a long trip, but they've got it's scheduled for 2023.
Wow.
And I guess these kids, they had them on the NASA, on TV or something. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So the world keeps on moving is the point I'm trying to make. And
Yeah.
our time is so very limited with the world.
Yeah.
And our time in the world. And so thus I just said, your best you. It's relative to where you are in the universe.
True.
You're not going to be a high performing all the time.
Nope.
You're going to go through different seasons and stages of your life. You're going to have things that are going to hit you and knock you around.
Yeah.
The resiliency and the ability to get back up, brush yourself off, and start all over again is synonymous with chakras 1 through 7, 1 through 7, 1 through 7.
Rinse and repeat.
And just try to keep growing each
Yeah.
time. And kind of it gives you a self affirming lifestyle, which then creates a positive way of living your life. And you start to look at things more through rose-colored glasses that aren't so mysterious anymore. They're actually the regular glasses that we wear now.
Yes.
And who are you to not put on rose-colored glasses? You know,
What's the matter with you?
why can't you see things through a more positive light?
Exactly.
You know, why do you
And
always
there's
have to come in and be the downer of the situation?
Exactly.
Or look at everything from its negative side.
Yeah.
The negative side pretty much shows itself pretty well right off. It's
Oh, yeah,
harder
it
to
does.
find the pearl than it is to see the mud.
Absolutely.
All right, one other
Absolutely.
thing before we get to go, and that was, if you recall, I said chakra 5 was the artistic self, because it's the creative expression of how one is putting out,
Okay.
you know, your work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's-
Again, with imagination and everything else.
and
our
6 is the, you know, the intuitive self.
okay.
So, you know, about clear sight, about our Magi nation, imagination, right? Our visions and our intuitive self. So, you know, again, you know, put your fingers together. You can put them together in prayer because when
They're
you put
already
them
there,
together in
yeah.
prayer, they are together.
Right.
But when you keep that open kind of portal, it's almost like a globe
Mm-hmm.
of knowing or something. And this is
I
the
think it-
Hakini Mudra, and it is the god of the forehead, small g, you know, of the forehead.
But even think about how sometimes when people will sit down, they need a moment to think. They do this.
That's what you do. This is
Think about it.
or you could do this, but this is just a
But a
moment
lot
of
of people,
contemplative.
you see a lot of people that will do this
This is the.
if they're taking a moment.
You'll probably notice that you've probably been doing it, but give it a try if you haven't.
Yeah.
We love having them come and visit us.
Absolutely.
And you didn't get to see Crystal at all because she sloughed the whole thing off. And I went through all the trouble.
Oh, well, you know what?
That is a husky for sure.
It
They
sure
will
is.
exhaust you. No joke. They're
Okay.
very demanding pups of love.
They
But,
sure
you
are.
know, they really are quite. She ate a whole tray of ice cubes when she came back from her rabies shot yesterday. She was like, I'm so stressed.
They were.
All right, we got to
They
go.
were all so happy to get
Oh,
back.
come
now.
say goodbye. You want to say goodbye?
Come here.
No. All right.
No.
Anyway, we love you.
Love
And
you.
do your Hakini Mudra.
Yes.
Blessings. Bye.
Bye. See you next time.
Here she is.
There
Ah,
she is.
Crystal. Bye.
Sometimes life just happens. Don't worry. Farmington Motorsports will get you back on the road and at a fair price. From towing to tires, emissions to transmissions.
Our ASC certified techs do it all.
Farmington Motorsports is a family-run business. We're a Napa Auto Center and AAA approved. We work on all makes and models from preventative maintenance to major repairs.
And every repair is backed by our 2-year, 24,000-mile nationwide warranty.
When life happens to you, don't worry. Farmington Motorsports.